right, good morning. I'm David Eli with Bridge Insurance Group, and I am excited to be here today hosting our podcast for the Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank Mandy Pryor for allowing me to sit in her seat. I know you're used to seeing her here today. And I'm really excited to invite a very good friend of mine to be my guest today here on the podcast, Chris Mathewson from Sullivan. Chris, welcome.
Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you being on with me today.
Amen.
And let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the Chamber of Commerce. Let's talk about, there's a million chambers of commerces out there.
Yeah,
they're all over the place, and you're a recent member. You guys joined as one of our sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what led you to joining this chamber? What are you looking to achieve? What are you looking to accomplish?
Absolutely. With previous opportunities I had the opportunity to look at all the chambers in Pittsburgh. Some of the big ones, like the airport chamber, some of the more Main Street chambers. And after a lot of experience attending events, membership in some of them, I really learned that this chamber, the Southwest Regional Chamber, has a strong identity and really fostering and building the kinds of relationships that Sullivan really cares about. So it was an easy choice. I think Mandy does an excellent job connecting people. When you become a member of the chamber, she plugs you in right away. There's tons of opportunities to get involved. I think the businesses are extremely deliberate about connecting and welcoming new members. So while I've had experience with the Southwest Regional Chamber before with other companies, when my boss gave me the freedom to join a chamber, he said, I want you to go join a chamber, pick one you like, get involved. I said, I already know. It was a no-brainer for me.
Good.
I just feel like the people here are very welcoming, very deliberate, and they really care about learning. What does it look like to learn about other businesses, to be a good referral partner? What does it look like to do business together? What does it look like to support one another, even personally? I've made some great friends in this chamber. So all around the board, it was an easy decision.
Good. Yeah. I wanted to mention that outside of the Chamber of Commerce, Chris is a personal friend of mine, and so this is a special interview for me today. I'm excited to have him back with the Chamber of Commerce, and I know your history, your background with your business background and your public speaking background. Talk a little bit about your background. Who are you? What brought you here, and what brought you to Sullivan?
Absolutely, that's a great question because I'm passionate about that story.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in the nonprofit world for a long time and made a switch in the last 5-7 years to the corporate kind of marketplace. Was a business development leader for a lot of years. First, believe it or not, as an ordained minister. I helped churches revitalize themselves. I was not your traditional minister. I came into broken places and helped them revitalize their sense of self. Form strategic partnerships with their community, kind of get their finances in order, make any staffing changes that needed to occur, and get them going in a positive direction so that someone could come in and enjoy that work over a long season of taking care of that congregation. I did that for many years, and then I realized that while I enjoyed that time, I really wanted to use that same skill set, which is very marketable in the marketplace. I wanted to use that and felt personally like that challenge was good for me and my family. So I made a switch into being a business development manager for one IT company, served them and helped them develop market share here in Pittsburgh, broke ground, and then helped them get a footprint to expand further into the Northeast. And then served in transitional leadership for a catering company for a season as they went from single ownership to mutual ownership to partnership. So use some of those management and business skills to help a company navigate a transition. But really wanted to be involved in sales and business development. So as I kind of looked for what was next, I saw an opening at Sullivan, and that was a name that I knew immediately because I was a customer. I've personally had 2 huge projects that Sullivan did for me over the last several years. One, our boiler, when it was replaced, and second was a gas line repair that also moved our meter outside. Both those happened while I was away out of town for business, and my wife had to interface with Sullivan Super Service while I was away, and the salespeople and the techs that were on board handled that so well. Here's my wife with 3 kids and a dog and a husband out of town, and she's got to deal with no heat. or a gas leak, and they handled it so well that I said that's the kind of company that I could sell for in a heartbeat and represent in a business development fashion. So when I was looking for my next opportunity and saw them, I said that's a company that I want to represent. I had this much HVAC experience. I work on the HVAC side, like this much. But I'm very passionate about, when I believe in something, I go after it with all my heart. That's how I got my wife.
That's awesome.
And I went to Sullivan with my resume, old school, printed out copy of my resume, dressed up, went to the front door, introduced myself, told them I was a customer, said I saw their post online that it required 2 years of HVAC experience to apply. I said, I don't have any HVAC, but I can sell, and I know people, and I know relationships, and I know the real thing when I see it. And so the owner was impressed by that, and he had me meet with the sales manager, had a series of interviews. I went in the field and actually followed some sales calls to make sure that it was the work that I wanted to do, and we confirmed that, and they hired me the next week.
That's amazing.
So I made a big switch because for me, in almost 50 years of being on planet Earth, I've learned that values are the foundation of everything. I want to work for, it matters to me who I work for. It matters less what I do. It matters to me more who I work for and what they care about, how they organize their company. I can learn a lot of different things, but you can't teach values. You either care about them or you don't. And I want to work for a company that does. So it was a pretty easy transition.
That's an inspirational story. I didn't realize that you were a client.
Yes, sir.
That's incredible. You know, I've heard Sullivan Supercenter. You've seen the ads. I've heard the ads on the radio.
Yep.
You see the fellow with the
Superman
cape,
correct.
and so tell us a little bit about Sullivan, about their history, about what makes them a player in this market, and what keeps you guys innovative.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we hadn't even covered that yet. So Sullivan Super Service is the name of our company, and we are a plumbing and HVAC company largely. It was started in 1964 in Braddock, Pennsylvania, out of the Sullivan's home. Bill and Anna Sullivan, newly married, starting their family, started as strictly a plumbing company out of their garage, and quickly grew. They started to hire techs, started to buy trucks, opened up a formal shop in Braddock. After about 30 years in business, they realized that plumbing and HVAC go together hand in hand, and so they integrated heating and cooling into their plumbing work. And they just started to really grow, not through any kind of business strategy, just by doing the right thing. They're a value-driven family, and so they're a value-driven company. The term family company is used many times. I think we're forgetting what that actually means. It means that there's a family with an identity and a purpose that starts a business, and that business is reflective of those values of the family, and that's exactly who Sullivan Super Service is. So while they've experienced incredible growth over the 60 plus years that they've been in business, starting from a garage now to having a fleet of 50 vehicles on the road, having a footprint all over Allegheny County, and in the third generation of leadership. Bill and Anna Sullivan's grandchildren are now effectively kind of the front office. The second generation, John L., their dad, is still very much present, very much represents the values and sets a course of vision for us. But his two children, Brad and Janelle, are really kind of the hands-on leadership in operations. It's that third generation of values shining through that really makes the difference and still keeps us moored into who we are, having an identity and servicing our clients the way that we do. I think especially with plumbing and heating and cooling, the reality is you're going into people's homes in a time where they're very vulnerable. And it's an industry where it's really easy to take advantage of people. It's easy to cut corners, and the consumer will never know. And they're kind of at your mercy. I think their deep awareness of trust and the privilege of going into someone's home has really moored them into their growth and their reputation. And I'm proud to wear this blue shirt when I go into people's home, and I have no problem selling the company because they are who they say they are. So it's a lot of fun to represent them.
I can see, being a family-owned company, how your approach to this position appealed to them, quite frankly. You know, they have those values. There's a lack of service. I think people were still longing for that personal touch. And when you took it upon yourself to walk in there with a a resume, print it up, old school. Present yourself as well as you do with your background and as confident as you should be in your history. It's a no-brainer. You know, they're lucky to have you, and I'm happy to hear that you're happy there.
Well, I'm lucky to be with them. Cool story about where those values really take root is the values, and these are all over. When you go into our main office in Penn Hills, they're all over the place. They're customer service, accountability, trust, teamwork, growth, and gratitude. Those values are all over. You can see them, they define them. John L., the second generation Sullivan, when he decided to hire me, brought me into his office and he sat me down and he said, Christopher, I want to share with you our family story. I want to share with you how we started and how we got to where we are here as a sizable company. And he goes, and I want to do one other thing that we do with every new hire. I want to talk through these values. I want to talk through customer service, accountability, trust, teamwork, growth, and gratitude with you. I want to tell you what they've meant to us, and I want to tell you what my expectation is of you as you represent these values to the community. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Talk about wanting to work for a family company and having a man do that as he brings you on board. Just as a salesman, let me at him with that.
Yeah.
You know, let me loose in the community that I can actually say with integrity, this is who we are from the top down. It's pretty cool.
You know, one of the words that popped into my head when you were telling me that story was leader. You know, he's a leader.
He's a leader.
He's not an owner. He's not a businessman. He's a leader. He's a leader of people. Speaking of leaders, in your history, do you have any specific mentors that may have stood out and played a role in forming, you know, the person that you are now?
Yeah, I think mentorship is really important. In fact, I think as we grow into adulthood, men and women should have people that are feeding into them, so that are further down the road, wise, offering advice, a safe place for you to share some of your concerns and struggles with. But we also should have people that we're mentoring. That's a healthy individual that learns that there always should be learning from wisdom above, and they should be giving back to people that are less on the journey. So for me, one of my current mentors is Ron Stewart. He is retired. He lives in Washington County. He worked for the National Forest Service. He was third in command of the entire National Forest. He worked out of Washington, D.C. in the latter part of his career. He started in California. He got his PhD from Oregon State. And he's just a man of integrity. He's been married to the same woman for a long time. He's raised his children to be good citizens. His son is a colonel in the Army who's currently serving in Germany. His daughter works in the West Allegheny School District helping folks with special ed needs. He's just a good man, and that's who I look to. I mean, he does have academic and professional accomplishments, which is alluring, but for me, it's more the man he is. I believe that everything starts with character and values, and so when I look at a man who's been successful in life, that's a man I want to listen to. And I think the rest of it takes care of itself. I think if you are moored into the right principles, you can learn a lot of things and you can figure it out. But if you don't know who you are, you're always going to flounder. And I think going back to a family company, that mooring can help you weather, especially the inevitable changing landscape of the marketplace, because you know who you are. You can perform and companies can grow. There's all kinds of strategies out there to grow, but if you focus on strategy first, the neglect of who you actually are, it's going to collapse. You're a ticking time bomb. But if you know who you are, you can weather ups and downs, you can reinvent yourself, you can express yourself differently in changing markets, but you can only do that if you're actually operating from a place of tradition and security. And so, to your question about mentorship, I look for men in that way, and I look for companies in that way as well.
Okay. You know, when you walked in this morning and you had the big smile on your face, and every time I see you have a big smile on your face, you're ready to take on the day. What is it that motivates Chris? What motivates you every single day to have that just ambiance, that aura about you? You just attract positivity. And I've noticed that ever since I met you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You have that same thing. I admire that about you as well. Well, first and foremost, I'm a person of faith. I'm a strong Christian. I believe in the God of the Bible, and that informs a lot of who I am and what I want to do in the world. So that's my rock bottom. Secondly, within that, I have an incredible wife who's a partner who helps me see who I am every day and supports and loves me and holds me up to the calling that I feel like I have in the world, which is to just to be a regular guy. I don't want to be anything special, but I want to be a good regular guy. I want to represent the character of God in the world. I want to be honest. I want to be hardworking. I want to make a difference in my community. And I want to be around people that want to do the same. And I want to inspire other people to do the same. And I think we're living in a very apathetic culture right now where we're just kind of numb to whatever pleases us in the moment. And I really am committed to getting outside of that and operating from kind of a stronger platform with higher goals to make a difference. So those are the types of things that motivate me.
Sounds like it's a perfect fit with the background of Sullivan. So with Sullivan Services, what's next for Sullivan? Where are we going with this thing?
We're pretty established in different parts of Allegheny County, but we're always looking to grow. And we like organic growth because we like our reputation to precede us. We don't like gimmicks. We don't. Certainly, I'm grateful for this opportunity to get the message out, and I hope it does. But I also we want to earn business. That's something that's dying too. We want to earn your business, not kind of manipulate you into giving us a shot. We want a reputation to precede us, and have people say, yeah, they did exactly what they said they were going to do, how they were going to say it, and they backed up their work. So that's getting that message out there. I think for me, I'm always passionate about strategic partnerships. Whenever we can partner with other businesses, and that's where the chamber comes in, where we can be a referral partner for them. We're in a lot of homes. We're with a lot of customers, and sometimes they're buying and selling homes. Sometimes they're looking for financing. Sometimes they're looking for other home improvements. That's an opportunity for me to speak well about other businesses as we represent ourselves to customers, and we would hope to do that with other companies as well as they apply their trade in the South Hills, that we would be someone that they would think of well to represent and to recommend. Because I think that's, for as much as Pittsburgh is connected to the global world, which it is through all the enterprises we have here, at the end of the day, we're very much a neighborhood, community-driven city still. And so word of mouth is king. I think it always will be. So that's where it really matters.
Yeah, word of mouth is king. In my business, one of the things that comes up quite often in our conversations is, things that are happening in people's homes. We're in the insurance business, and so it's great to know that. I didn't know what Sullivan Services did. I just knew about the guy in the cape.
Yep.
Now I do, and now we should have brought you a cape today. I'll have to make sure Mandy has a cape for the next episode. We'll have Chris back on for part 2. But it's an opportunity now for me to be able to comfortably and positively refer Sullivan yourself to a client that may have a question, may have a problem with HVAC, may have a problem with a plumbing issue. People are always asking me that question. Do you know anybody that does fill in the blank?
That's right.
And I think that's the part of the power of the Chamber of Commerce is that it is unified. And one of the things that I'm excited to have you back as a part of that is you're a unifier, and we're gonna have a good time with this chamber thing. We're gonna build this thing up.
Well, and when the great thing about this chamber too is not only does it understand what it means to support one another, but I think it brings out excellence in one another. When you go to bat for someone, when I give someone a referral, I'm very clear that I'm leveraging my reputation and my company's reputation to vouch for you. So as I would do my very best to represent your word as truth, do the same for me. And I think this chamber does that, and it just raises the bar for everybody. And that's a beautiful thing. That's accountability. That's kind of de facto accountability, which is cool.
Yeah. So, with that said, if people are out there, if you have questions about the Chamber of Commerce, please give us a call. I wanted to personally thank Chris for being my guest today.
Absolutely.
Best of luck in your
Thank you,
endeavors. I want to thank Mandy for having me on as her special co-host, or I can't replace her. She is irreplaceable.
She's irreplaceable.
And we miss her. Hopefully she'll be back in this chair soon. Until then, thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.